From our studio in Georgetown, this is the TV Delmarva Channel 14 News at 4.
Good day, Delmarva. Reporter Rob Petrie here for TV Delmarva Channel 14 News. Straight ahead, a $300 rebate for all taxpayers has been proposed by state lawmakers to combat rising fuel costs here in Delaware. And a man shot and killed while sitting in his car in Dover. These stories and more on the way, but weather first with Hunter Alton.
Good Friday afternoon, Delmarva. It is definitely nice to see the sunshine once again, where it seems like it's been several days since we've had any dry weather, for how dreary and rainy and stormy and even foggy last night across areas of the shore. Taking a live look outside of TV Delmarva Studios in Georgetown, Delaware, we have the puffy cumulus clouds, we have the sunshine, and now we're starting to see a little bit of some breezy conditions too, and that temperature is warming up as well. Currently 60 degrees in Georgetown. Let's have a look at some satellite and radar going into this afternoon. All the clouds we've seen this morning has moved well off of our coast, and we are seeing that sunshine as of now. But if you notice, we're starting to see a stream of some puffy cumulus clouds moving in, and even some isolated showers developing in eastern Virginia that might move through areas in between Salisbury and Onancock. But by the time we get into the evening hours towards sundown, we should see all the precipitation beginning to diminish, and we're still going to be dealing with some partly cloudy skies going into the overnight hours. And having a look at the temperatures across Delmarva at this hour, right now it's 61 degrees in Salisbury, 59 for Pocomoke City, 57 for Ocean City, 61 degrees for Easton and Centreville, 60 right now in Dover, and 57 degrees up north in Wilmington and Newark. We're starting to see an increase in those winds generally from the south and west, sustained anywhere between about 10 and 15 miles per hour, but we are seeing some stronger wind gusts, especially in the inland locations, currently gusting to 25 miles per hour here in Georgetown, 20 miles per hour in Salisbury, 23 for Centreville, 21 for Dover, and currently gusting to 18 miles per hour up north in Wilmington and Newark. Now, we're not going to be done with the rain chances just yet, but we're also going to be looking at some much colder conditions as we head into this weekend. I'll have more details regarding that in just a little bit.
Well, to combat rising fuel costs, a bipartisan bill has been submitted that would give every tax-paying Delawarean a direct $300 payment from its nearly $1 billion revenue surplus. The bill is backed by both Republicans and Democrats and has been supported by Governor John Carney. The bill is expected to swiftly pass and then be signed by the governor as soon as April. Last week, Republican lawmakers proposed a $100 payment from the revenue surplus. The calls for a payment were made after an attempt to suspend Delaware's gas tax, similar to Maryland's 30-day gas tax holiday, as we hear from Senator Brian Pettyjohn, the bill's primary sponsor.
You know, we've seen that all the way from Fenwick Island, crossing over to Ocean City, all the way up, all the way west, and then all the way up to Elkton, you know, outside of Newark. We're hearing people from Delaware that are going over to Maryland to save a significant amount of money, especially businesses that are operating in those areas and have fleets. They're going over there for fuel right now. So it is something that has concerned us to the point where I went ahead and drafted a bill to give, just like Maryland, a 30-day holiday on our motor fuel tax here in Delaware. Really, what we're looking to do, again, is provide relief to individuals and families and businesses there at the gas pump. Everybody's feeling the pinch right now when it comes to refueling their vehicles.
How much will this knock off for that 30 days, approximately?
The gas holiday will save consumers about 22 cents a gallon right now in fuel tax here in Delaware.
So as far as getting the bill passed, is this seen as bipartisan legislation as far as co-sponsors? Have we seen any Democrats join?
We haven't gotten any Democrats to join it. We do have sponsors from Republican caucuses in both chambers. I believe our entire caucus here in the Senate has joined in, as well as several members of the House Republican caucus as well. So, you know, this is something, again, you know, it was a bipartisan measure over in Maryland. I don't see why it can't be a bipartisan measure over here in Delaware. We have heard some concerns from our Department of Transportation, however, that because it is written into our Delaware state code, our Delaware laws, that we cannot reduce the gas tax. Well, we change laws all the time, so we took that provision out, that we just struck that whole provision of the motor fuel tax code here in Delaware. But there is some concern from the Department of Transportation that it could affect the rates that we pay for our bonds when we go out to the bond market later on this year for a little over $200 million. But that's something that some attorneys are saying, no, we will be fine as long as we allocate money that was lost out of our general fund, out of some of the excesses that we have right now. I mean, DFAC just came out over $200 million more again for the next for this fiscal year and next fiscal year. So we definitely have some one-time money that we can spend to help families and help businesses here in Delaware. And that's what we're looking to do with this bill.
Well, gas prices have seen a significant rise since the Ukraine-Russian conflict began. According to AAA Mid-Atlantic on Thursday, the average price for a tank of gas in Delaware was $4 a gallon compared to $2.76 a gallon just a year ago. Diesel is just under $5 a gallon at $4.93. Well, Delaware State Police are conducting a homicide investigation that took place Thursday afternoon in Capitol Park in Dover. According to Delaware State Police, around 3:50 p.m. Thursday, troopers responded to Senator Avenue for reports of a shooting. The investigation determined a 33-year-old Dover man was seated in the driver's seat of a vehicle parked on Senator Avenue when an unknown male entered the back seat of his car. The male engaged in a conversation with the victim before demanding his property. At some point during the encounter, police say the victim was shot in the upper torso. The unknown male suspect then fled the scene in a vehicle in an unknown direction. The victim was pronounced dead at the scene. Anyone with any information is urged to contact police. Speaking of Dover, a Dover tax preparer has been indicted for allegedly filing fraudulent returns. According to the indictment by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Delaware, 54-year-old Harvey Walker is accused of preparing 23 fraudulent returns for 8 clients over the course of a 4-year period. In those returns, Walker is accused of claiming deductions for charitable contributions and unreimbursed employee expenses to show a business loss. He faces up to 3 years in prison and up to $100,000 in fines for each count if convicted. Meanwhile, the Newcastle County Department of Public Works repaired a force main break which caused wastewater to overflow and spill into the Christina River. The overflow occurred when the force main ruptured near Old Airport Road up in Newcastle. The wastewater spill was reported to DENREC on Wednesday. The Newcastle County Department of Public Works worked through the night to stop the spill and repair the 36-inch force main line. The crew was able to bypass flow and close a valve to stop the leak, thankfully. The repair of the line was completed around noon on Thursday. DENREC Division of Water and Newcastle County wastewater management staff are assessing bodies of water in the area impacted by the spill. The break was caused by a failed weld on a 24-inch air release stack. Coming up, the Lewis Transit Center is a nominee for, quote, America's Best Bus Stop and is now looking for your vote. More details straight ahead. Keep it here. Well, interesting news. The Lewis Transit Center is a nominee for America's Best Bus Stop and is now looking for your vote. In the spirit of this year's NCAA tournament, Street Blog is holding a single elimination tournament to crown the best bus station in the nation. Voting will open up soon for the first round, which will send one bus stop to the finals. The Lewis Transit Center faces fierce competition with Cambridge, Massachusetts, and a bus stop in Ontario. Construction on the Lewis Transit Center first began back in 2016 and was operational the very next year. It was part of Dart First State's initiative to provide better public transportation across the state. Well, it's looking like we're in store for isolated showers and cooler conditions tonight as we get a preview of your pinpoint weather forecast with Hunter Alton.
We are heading into a colder weather pattern starting this weekend into the first few days of next week. Saturday would feature some more sunshine, but we will be looking at a redevelopment of some passing showers in the afternoon hours. Those colder temperatures will not last very long as another warm-up trend is on the way for the mid to late portions of next week. Just how much cooler is it going to get? I'll let you know when we come back here on TV Delmarva Channel 14 News. All right, Delmarva, let's get right into that forecast. Going into the overnight hours, we're going to be looking at some partly to mostly cloudy skies. Still could be dealing with an isolated shower chance here and there. Cooler temperatures tonight too, 43 to 47 degrees, and the winds will be calming down just for a little bit from the west at about 5 miles per hour. Now, going into the day on Saturday, we're going to be looking at partly to mostly cloudy skies once again, and some passing showers, but that might not be the only thing that we'll see tomorrow. I'll explain more in just a second with some much colder conditions too. Your afternoon high is only 48 to 54 degrees with the winds on the increase from the west between 10 and 20 miles per hour. Take a look at Futurecast rest of the overnight hours into the day on Saturday. This is 8 o'clock this evening. Futurecast picking up maybe a few isolated showers here and there. Temperatures are cooling off down into the lower 50s, but by the time we get into the heart of the overnight hours, we're still going to be dealing with partly to mostly cloudy skies, cooling off temperatures in the mid and upper 40s, but waking up tomorrow morning pretty much the similar ordeal as it is during the overnight hours. Still got plenty of cloud cover, temperatures around 45 to 46 degrees. But once we get into the afternoon hours tomorrow, it's not going to be a fairly warm day at all, but if you notice, there's a lot of showers that are developing across areas of Delmarva with temperatures only getting into the upper 40s. And by 6 o'clock, we really start seeing a bunch of showers developing here on the shore and some fairly cool temperatures too. And these are going to be a little bit some special showers because these are going to be convective showers. And no, I'm not talking about thunder and lightning. Just let me explain real quick. This is the forecasted 500 millibar height and wind. This is the mid-level jet stream. And you notice there is a very, very large trough across the eastern U.S. and some very strong winds up aloft, roughly at about 20,000 feet. We're looking at winds over 120 knots across areas of the mid-Atlantic states. And not only that, some very cold air aloft. We're talking 30 below zero well up into the atmosphere, and that's going to play an important role because with the surface temperatures being into the 40s and these very, very cold temperatures aloft, we're actually going to be looking at some instability. This is the forecasted Cape going into tomorrow, and you got some widespread areas of some unstable air that's going to be suspended higher up in the atmosphere. That's why we're having that chance of some showers, and do not be surprised if some of these stronger showers tomorrow could contain a little bit of some sleet or some grapple small hail because it is so cold aloft, and that's going to be enough to trigger maybe even some hail tomorrow with some of these showers. And then by the time we get past nightfall, 10 o'clock at night, we're going to be looking at all those showers dissipating. Temperatures are going to be really cooling off in the overnight hours, already down into the 30s, and then by 2 o'clock in the morning, we're getting fairly close to that freezing mark, with skies beginning to clear out just in time for Sunday. Now, unfortunately, even though temperatures are going to be cooler tomorrow, with the added wind, we're going to be looking at those allergy indexes quite high once again, right on the cusp of medium high to high, 8 out of 12 with your normal tree pollen, juniper, maple, and now Adler. Take a look at the marine conditions now for your Saturday, beginning with the Atlantic. We got isolated showers, 52 degrees, winds from the west at 15 to 25 miles per hour with seas of 2 to 4 feet. Take a look at the Delaware Bay. We got isolated showers, 52 degrees, winds from the west at 10 to 20 miles per hour with seas of 1 to 2 feet. And then the Chesapeake Bay, isolated showers, 53 degrees, winds from the west at 10 to 15 miles per hour. And you guessed it, seas of 1 to 2 feet as well. Now, going into the overnight hours tomorrow night, partly cloudy skies and a much colder night in store as well. 32 to 37 degrees across the region. Still going to be breezy at times too from the west. 10 to 15 miles per hour. Well, at least the good news is with that extended outlook, we're only going to be dealing with the cooler weather going into the early portions of next week. Sunday looking nice and sunny, 51 degrees, but the coldest air mass we've seen probably in the last week or two settling in for the start of the new work week. Only 42 degrees and mostly sunny by Monday, 47 partly sunny by Tuesday, but the mid to late portions of next week, we're going to be looking at another warm up, getting back to the low 70s by Thursday, and we're going to be introducing some scattered thunderstorms as well.
Coming up, President Biden and the EU have announced a new initiative that pulls the world further away from reliance on Russian oil. More details straight ahead. Don't go away. President Biden and the European Commission have announced a new initiative that pulls the world further away from reliance on Russian oil. Biden announced in Brussels Friday that the U.S. and European Union are launching a joint task force to help pull Europe away from relying on Russian gas. The president said Putin has used his energy resources and the world's reliance on it to, quote, coerce and manipulate their neighbors. The profits Russia then makes, Biden said they used to, quote, drive his war machine. The task force is hoping to have Europe fully prepared by next winter. Under the new plan, the U.S. and other nations will increase liquefied natural gas exports to Europe by 15 billion cubic meters just this year.
Weather Classroom is sponsored by No Nonsense Office Machines. Committed to providing quality products and services with over 15 years of experience here in Sussex County. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today's weather lesson, we will be talking about the formation of hail. Hail is one of the most destructive types of severe weather. While often overshadowed by tornadoes, hail causes millions of dollars in damages each year here in the United States. Hailstones come in a variety of sizes and shapes and can cause large amounts of damage to property. Hail is found in many thunderstorms and often accompanies storms that also produce strong winds and as well as tornadoes. Hailstones are a frozen form of precipitation that occurs when a thunderstorm's updraft lifts rain up into the freezing line in the atmosphere. When the hailstones become too heavy to be lifted by the updraft, they fall back down towards earth, towards the ground. Hail forms when a thunderstorm updraft lifts water droplets above the freezing line in the atmosphere, and the frozen water droplets then accretes to supercooled water droplets or water vapor, which freezes once they come in contact with the frozen droplet. And this process causes the hailstones to grow in size. Hail is often confused with other types of freezing precipitation such as sleet, but sleet is found mainly during the cool seasons and does not occur in thunderstorms. Hail, in comparison, is only found in thunderstorms where updrafts and the thunderstorm forces raindrops further up into the atmosphere to freeze. Hail sizes can differ greatly from one storm to another depending on the strength of the storm's updraft. Stronger updrafts can create larger hailstones, which in turn causes more damage. This makes reporting the size of hail to the public a very, very important thing to do to make sure for public safety standards. Now, the good news is here on Delmarva, large hail in thunderstorms is not extremely common, unlike it is in the Midwest and Central Plains due to our low elevation. That means storms in our neck of the woods would have to be very intense to bring water droplets higher into the atmosphere to that freezing line, and it takes a lot more effort to achieve in these lower elevation zones.
Well, that about does it for us today, Delmarva. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at TV Delmarva and on our website, tvdelmarva.com, for real-time news and weather updates. And while you're there, be sure to follow our petition calling on the major cable providers to carry TV Delmarva on their platforms so we can provide this kind of local programming to all of Delmarva. Until next time, I'm Rob Petrie reporting for TV Delmarva Channel 14 News.